Listen, I know the advent of technology and what have you, and, you got to take that into consideration. And, certain things you're going to miss with the human eye. That's the purpose of replay. But I just think that in this particular situation is that it needs to be concrete and absolutely definitive in order for you to overturn a call. And I think in that particular situation, as important as it was, certainly I don't think there was enough evidence to completely definitively overturn it. It looked like his pinky may have touched the basketball once it was tapped out of his hand. It looked like his pinky might have caught the end of it, but definitively from certain angles, you couldn't tell. And to me, that's enough to keep the call as is, to allow it to stand, as opposed to overturning that call. That was not the reason they lost the game. Give Virginia props, major props, for performing the way that they did. And Hunter, my God, was he special. He was spectacular. But I do believe that call should not have been overturned. I was very disgusted by that.
Look, I understand why. This was an interesting moment because, the whole country, it felt like, was thinking the same thing, boy, that's kind of ticky-tack if you overturn that. We have to parse every little frame in order to figure it out. You might as well go with the original call. But I don't have a problem with it in the end because we all know they got the call right. Are we positive? No. But they made a more informed decision. There was more evidence, and it looks like they got it right. I'm 99%. It's a better call than the original call that they made. And this is the problem with instant replay. It's the way it's deployed. It's the way it's used. It's the reason in the NFL it's like no more instant replay. It slows the game down. It doesn't have to slow the game down. You could, in 15 seconds, 30 seconds, come to a more informed decision and make a better call using instant replay. The hue and cry will always be, well, it's not perfect. But the perfect is the enemy of the good. Are we 100% sure they got the call right? No. But they made a better call than the original call. And just because it messes with your emotions, like, oh, I thought this and now I think that about the way the game is going, doesn't mean that they should make an inferior call. Now, did they take too long? Sure, it didn't need to take that long. But once you saw the replay from two different angles, you're like, yeah, out on Texas Tech. I mean, it's not that. You can't be 100% sure, but it's a better call this way. And so what's the problem if they get it right? We're mad that they got it right?
I just said I don't believe they got it right.
Hold on.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
No, you're saying.
I mean, when I said to you that it may have looked like his pinky touched the basketball, but I specifically said I don't think the evidence was definitive enough to overturn the call.
But that's the very argument. The very argument is the definition of definitive enough. You need to be 100% certain. In other words, in order to overturn a call, it's not enough just to do better. You need to be perfect. Based on all the evidence we now have, do you believe, yes or no, it was off on Texas Tech?
I don't believe that. That's what I said.
After you saw that, not definitive. After you saw the replay.
He doesn't believe it.
You know what, Max? Hold on. I'm trying to be respectful. How many times do I think I speak clear English? How many times do I have to say, I don't believe that? I don't believe it was definitive. I don't believe that. I mean, what part of that don't you understand? I do not believe the call should have been overturned.
Right. No. Don't be slick. Don't be slick. You're saying you shouldn't believe the call should be overturned because based on the rules, it needs to be definitive. I'm not asking that question. I'm saying based on everything you know now, today, forget about the call. Who did it go off of, in your opinion? What's your best judgment?
I believe Virginia knocked the ball out and that it didn't touch him.
Oh, okay. That's something else. I think you're wrong. Go ahead, Jay.
Go ahead.
This is the easiest money I made all day. I just sit here and watching you guys debate. It's hysterical. I think it was the right call. And you guys know, I'm usually the one that's coming in hot about different referee takes. I don't have a problem with that. I think Texas Tech gave the game away, to be frank with you. I mean, there was a defensive breakdown towards the end of the game where, Ty Jerome drove the ball. They collapsed. They left DeAndre Hunter, who just made himself a lot of money, by the way, in this ball game, to knock down a three. And then here's a bigger issue, Stephen A. and Max, that I see with college basketball. I can't tell you how many times this year, you guys know, watch all hoops from NBA to college to high school. How many times on high school and college that I see a game tied and I see the star player with the ball in their hands. Now, Jarrett Culver was 0 of 5 from the three-point line going up to this point. And literally, instead of racking the ball, taking the ball to the rim, driving it, shooting some kind of mid-range shot or trying to get fouled by putting the refs in a position to make a call, my man settled for a three-point shot.
From 5 feet behind the arc, by the way.
That's what I'm saying, Max. And we're talking about Jarrett Culver. Look, this is not going to be a strong draft. I think after the top 3 picks, who knows what's going to happen. So if you're thinking about that, not that it comes down to your performance in the Final Four, but that's the last thing that we see. I think Jarrett Culver lost a lot of money last night. And you know who locked him up the whole game? DeAndre Hunter. He almost reminds me of like an OG Anunoby that plays for the Toronto Raptors, like a versatile Swiss Army knife that can not only defend you, but also gave you 27 points and made big-time buckets down the stretch to win the game. DeAndre Hunter was a star last night. He walked up the court, maybe being the 4th pick in the NBA draft.
Yeah, I thought going in, Jay, he looked like the pro prospect because what you mentioned, he could play defense, and he also started hitting those big shots after it looked early like Ty Jerome's the guy who's going to come through. No, it was DeAndre Hunter who came through, not to mention played defense, and that's exactly the point. The game was lost, I felt. Sometimes you see these pivotal moments in games. When you brick a 3 and a hero ball shot from 5 feet behind the arc with time to shoot, to me, that lost the game. Like when I saw that, I thought, ooh, Virginia's winning this game.
I felt the same way, Max. And it's like, look, I think Jarrett Culver, his prototypical NBA type is like a Jeremy Lamb. Now, Jeremy Lamb is like in his 7th year in the league now, and obviously for Charlotte, he's coming to his own. I think he's going to make a lot of money. I still think Jarrett Culver can be a talented player, but it's those situations where it's like, all right, well, this is your moment. Like, in the first 2 halves of the Final Four game and then the championship game, my man was 0 of 12 from the field. 0 of 12. And then you watch DeAndre Hunter, I'm like, not only can he defend, but this dude can score. He can shoot mid-range shots. He can put the ball down on the ground. And that's been the thing. Like after Zion Williamson, Ja Morant, and then the R.J. Barrett, you have no idea who the 4th pick in the draft is going to be.